Hey, comic book fans, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0, and you're getting ready to embark in another Mike Spider Slayer's Comic Book Countdown. That's right. This week we had 15 comics all together, and let's just say it was kind of a crappy week for reading. For the most part, I found myself bored, or issues were at a standstill, disappointing number ones, just man, it was a rough week. Plus, throwing in free comic book day with all the cool stuff that we got, it made it for a difficult week for reviewing stuff and to reading things. But nevertheless, we just go on through and we'll discuss about this week's comics. So, starting with number 15. My worst comic of the week was The Movement, issue number 1, written by Gail Simone. And Freddie Williams II, I think, was the one that did the art inside, which wasn't all bad, but people kind of seem bubbly at times and miscontorted body shapes. People seemed a little bit oversized. Something about the art that I didn't like. It was kind of it's a dark and gritty type of comic book, as you can see here. But I wasn't a huge fan of it. And I think mainly because they tried to throw a lot at you with this group called the M Group. And it's all these people with the masks. And you get to see the majority of the group say their names as the issue goes along, but you find yourself trying to remember all these characters at one time, and you're wondering where they came from, and things like that. Like this guy here, his name is the Mouse, and then there's like this satanic like guy that gets possessed, which is this dude right here. It's just a little odd, and I'm like curious to see where these people did come from and what they're really all about. There's this chick right here, and it all starts with some cops that were sexually harassing this young girl. So I don't know. It was all over the place for me. Like there was just too much. They tried to just be like, here's this book. There's all this information, and they want you to make you feel like these characters have been around forever. And that's just not the case. I would have loved to see a slower introduction to this actual title. So, but I really didn't enjoy it. I think I gave it like, I don't know, like I'm going to give it a 2. I really didn't like it at all. I'll give it another try to see if it slows down the pace a little bit. I'm not going to drop it quite yet. Number 14, Savage Dragon. Sadly to say, if The Movement didn't come out, this would have been my worst comic of the week. Mainly because every once in a while Eric Larson likes to experiment, likes to change things up. And in this particular issue, he changed his artwork. Not his artwork, but he changed the colors. And he had a part to do with it. But he tried to do this artwork that's kind of trending right now, like how it is in Hawkeye, if you're familiar with that artwork, and some of the other books that are out there. And for a book like Savage Dragon that's been around for so many years, I don't think you change it. I think you need to satisfy the fans that you do have, because it's a cult following book, and just keep it the way that it is. Now, luckily, it is experimental, and he said things will be going back to the way it was. So I'm happy about that. But at times, the way this artwork was, I didn't know who character was who. It was just really out there, and I just didn't enjoy it. I couldn't even remember telling you really what the story was about, because I couldn't grasp the characters because the color was so different in it. The only thing that I know in this particular issue, if you guys are familiar with Dart, was supposedly she died and she's still alive. That's the most important thing about this issue. Same thing, I'm giving it a 2 out of 5. Just didn't enjoy it whatsoever. Number 13, Hawkeye. Man, was I disappointed with Hawkeye. Oh, God. When David Aja does not do the artwork, I get disappointed. I'm curious to see who else can fill in the artwork for Hawkeye, because I don't think I would like this series if his artwork went away completely. Because same thing, the artwork in this issue, again, is that style, and it was so dramatic that you can't even tell who is who at all. And in this issue, you get to learn about the character that killed Gil and where he came from. So you see like flashbacks, and you see him talking to this girl, and you're not really sure who the girl is because the colors kind of, you know, change her a lot, and the art is different. And you're like, okay, who's he talking to? And then you find out at the end of the issue that he's talking to Kate Bishop. And we see Kate at the end trying to console Hawkeye, and that doesn't work out too well. And you find out again that, just in case you missed it in the last issue, in this issue you find out that this guy is the dude that killed Gil. I don't know why they felt they had to repeat the whole Gil thing. I guess maybe it's a jumping on point for people, but I just didn't like the art. I couldn't tell who character was what until the very end, and I was disinterested in it. I was just like, wow, where is this? What is this about? You know, where's this going? It's just, oh, I didn't like it at all. And of course, I'm not going to drop this series. This is the only issue that I really didn't like. It was mainly because of the artwork. So I'm going to give this one, same thing, 2 out of 5. Didn't like it at all. Number 12, Earth 2. This book picked up a little bit. This one had to do with Dr. Fate battling with Longton. So this is the conclusion to this particular story arc. And the book's got great artwork, great visuals. It always has. I was interested in seeing that. I was interested to see where the battle is going with Dr. Fate and Longton. And you get to see Alan Scott back in the mix of doing battle here with the team. And Wonton gets defeated. And at the end of this issue, the best thing that you find out in this particular issue is that we get to see Batman make his return. And it's not Bruce Wayne Batman or 52, it's somebody else. So I am definitely interested to see where this is going to go. Earth 2 has always been this book for me that has been good but not great, and at times it's been a little bit above average, but it's always been this solid read with some great artwork. Here's the new Batman that's coming on Earth 52, and that's coming out for their annual, so anxious to see. This wasn't horrible. It was okay. Again, I'm not a huge fan of Dr. Fate and this Wonton character, so I'm giving this one a 3 out of 5. Number 11. Vampires, the Eternal. This is the tie-in to the Unleashed story that I gave my number 2 book to last week. And this is a tie-in, and it tells you a little bit about Van Helsing and where she came from. And it also tells you about the head vampire, this chick right here, which is Samara, I think her name is. Yeah, Samara. And it kind of gives you an origin tale of what she's about and who she is. That's what this story introduced and where she came from. And she actually had a plague that was plaguing her, and a bunch of vampires kind of saved her from actually dying, and then she's become this actual vampire. So it was interesting to see. The writing is really good, done by Pat Shan as well. But the artwork was a little bit less desirable. Wasn't as detailed as I would like it. You know, at times it was okay. You can see that here. And the story was interesting to see about Samara and everything about her. And then at the end of the issue, you get to see that she reunites with these vampires after so many years. And so we'll see where that goes. And here is the next part right here. So this was good, solid issue. Again, it wasn't fantastic. It wasn't the best tie-in that I've ever read to an event. But it was decent storytelling. I just wish the artwork was a little bit better. So I've given this one a 3 out of 5 as well. Number 10. All New X-Men. All New X-Men had no action whatsoever. But, however, the artwork was there. It's got its regular penciler on there, which is Stuart. I can never say the guy's name, Immonen. And, of course, Brian Michael Bendis is the one that's written this book, and it's been superb so far. And in this particular issue, we get to see the mutants fighting over each other about where is Angel going to go? Is he going to stay? Is he going to go? Is he going to stay? Is he going to go? And it was just going on forever. And you get to see the sisters, which Emma Frost, the sisters, actually put a psychic hold on Jean Grey, which is interesting to see, and to try to give her a little bit of taste of her own medicine, because she was controlling Angel to go back into the school and not to go with the future Scott Summers. So that was an interesting tale. And there's a little setup here about the Avenger, or the X-Men, the past X-Men attacking, as you can see right here, or you can see the X-Men, the past X-Men, whatever, attacking the city, which is obviously some kind of setup. And what happens at the end of the issue is you get Thor comes, and then, of course, the Uncanny Avengers come into play here with Scarlet Witch and Captain America. So not much action in this one either. Lots of dialogue, lots of reading. So far, every single one of these issues did not have a lot of action except for Earth 52. And this one gets a 3 out of 5 in my book. Great artwork, but just very little action, lots of dialogue, which seems to be a trend for Michael Bendis lately on the X-Men title. Number 9. Age of Ultron. Issue number, or book number 7. So we're getting too close to the conclusion here with Age of Ultron. And in this particular issue, we see the results of what happens when Wolverine and an Invisible Girl destroy Hank Pym. They escape the Savage Lands, which they're trying to be attacked by dinosaurs, which is cool. And they go back into the current time. And the next thing you see is you see Manhattan just like this, back to normal. But there's helicarriers all over the place, so you can see S.H.I.E.L.D. agents all over. And then you get to see the Defenders defending the city. And they're all different. You know, things a little different. Wolverine's the same. Cable, I think, is Cyclops, and everything is all different. Captain America's like Nick Fury, and it's all weird. So, needless to say, they think they're Skrulls, and the Skrull thing is huge in this particular time. So that's what happens in this issue, and they do this lengthy battle, and Wolverine fights Wolverine, and you know, our current group, or whatever you want to call them, the Defenders, pick up Wolverine, the real Wolverine, I guess you want to say, and they think he's knocked out, and they take him in. And then the next thing you see is what really kind of got me excited at the end of this last page, because the issue itself was kind of like no progression whatsoever, really. But it did get me excited for the next issue, was this, where you see Tony Stark and all his fucking Iron Man. That was awesome. I like that. I was like, dude, that's freaking cool. I'm like, that's a page that just keeps you going to the next issue. But the overall issue was interesting. Not the greatest. Not much progression. So I give it like a 3.25 out of 5 stars. So Age of Ultron, book number 7. Number 8. Iron Man, issue 258.1. This story takes place back in 1990 during the Armor Wars 2. So this 58.1 takes place in between all that. So you might be a little bit lost since the last time you read Armor Wars. But it was a really cool issue in a way, because it tells you everything that happened like in 1990, and they give you a good description. You get your original creators of the Armor Wars, you know, Michelin Ross and Layton. They return to do this story, which is cool, and it goes back to like all the original Iron Man stuff, like all the original artwork from that time, which I thought was really cool. It has that real old school look, and I enjoyed that tremendous. Mainly because in the 90s, that's the Iron Man that I loved so much. Heavy armor, nice tech, super blast guns, all that crazy stuff. Like things like this. You got Stiltman and Beetle and Molten Man, and or not Molten Man. God, I can't remember the guy's name. It's driving me crazy. But it's got all those classic characters in there, and Tony Stark's old girlfriend in there, Ray, I think her name is, and it has to do with this device, this biomass getting removed out of Tony Stark, and it creates havoc amongst the city, and there's these UFOs flying around, and just really neat stuff to see. It was just classic. And at the end of the issue, you find out that Tony Stark is battling himself. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It was a little bit hard to understand because, shit, I haven't read the Armor Wars in forever. And it's just kind of thrown you back to that time frame. However, it was an interesting story with classic feel to it, and that's why I enjoyed it. So I'm going to give this one a 3.5 out of 5. The reason why it's downgraded so much is because, again, you might be feeling a little bit lost to who the characters were. So I have a feeling that they're going to create a trade out of this whole thing by the time it's all done and over with. But if you're looking for a classic Iron Man story, this is something to look forward to. Number 7, Teen Titans, issue number 17 or 19. This was the first issue of Teen Titans that I have read besides the Death in the Family thing. And out of all the comics this week, this gets a little bit higher of a grade because it was an interesting story. It had to do with, some of your original Teen Titans that are in there, which is Raven, who gets a makeover, as you can see now. And it has to do with Beast Boy, and Robin's in there, and then your characters are Wonder Girl and Bunker, and there's this one other chick, I forgot her name, can't remember her name, but it's this girl right here. I don't know if it's like, I don't know, I'm not even gonna begin, but it's written by Scott Liddell, and the pencils are done by Eddie Barrows, and art is, I like this artwork. I think it's solid. Kid Flash is in it as well, and Superboy's in it. And this issue has to do with Trigon, which is kind of funny because I don't know if any of you guys watched that Teen Titans Go episode this past week, but he was in that TV show, and it happens to be that this issue has to do with Trigon, which is Raven's actual father. So a demon from all hell that can just destroy anything at will. So he was terrorizing the earth. He can just destroy anything that he wants. And basically it was a setup for the Teen Titans to come to try to stop Trigon. And let's just say that the army was destroyed, and it feels like, I guess, that the Titans are going to try to get the fall for it. And it was because of Trigon. So it was a cool story, interesting things. I liked it. I think I'm going to pick up the next issue. I enjoyed it. It's cool to see at least some of the characters from the original Teen Titans. I know you're missing Cyborg and Starfire. If they were in there, that'd be cool. But what are you going to do? Can't have everything, can you? It's a new 52. So I'm going to give this one a 3.5 out of 5 stars as well. Number 6. Batwing, issue number 19. So new Batwing's coming around, everything else. People are saying it's good, it's awesome. So I bought Batwing issue number 19. And I was like, okay, let me see what Batwing's all about. And obviously, here's the cover of what the new Batwing is going to look like. And you're like, wow, he looks a lot cooler. But when I read this particular issue, obviously it's at the end of the current story arc. Wasn't familiar who or what was going on, but this guy named David, he doesn't want to have anything to do with the Batman armor, this new Batman armor, whatever it is. He doesn't want to be part of Batman Incorporated anymore, and he's on this rampage of killing all these people that killed this specific character that's later in the issue, and he has this vendetta in the particular book. Artwork is solid. I enjoyed the artwork in the book, but I can see why I would never ever buy this title before the new issue. Reason being is I just think that this Batwing costume is absolutely generic as hell. It's like a clunky old stupid ass armor, which I'm trying to find a good picture of it. So just give me 1 second. There's someone dying. Just want a really good picture. Sorry about that, guys. Like this. It's dumb. I didn't like that. And yeah, there's that too. So I mean, I really didn't care for it. The writers are Justin Gray and Jimmy Palmiotti, and the pencilers are Eduardo Panzisca. Sorry about that. But it was interesting because you see the end of a Batwing and then you see the beginning of a new one. And we see that, I guess the guy's name is Matu, who passed away. And again, he hands in his briefcase. He's no longer Batwing. And at the end of the issue, you get to see the new Batwing armor and the next person in line, which is Luke Fox, which is Lucius' son. So you're like, okay, cool. So I liked it. I was actually really into the read because I wanted to really get myself involved with the next issue. So I'm going to give this one I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5. It was a good read. I just can see why I wouldn't read it previous to this. Number 5. There it is. Batwing issue number 20. First off, when you compare stupid Batwing armor compared to new Batwing armor in cover, this is awesome. I enjoyed this book a lot. It was interesting seeing the introduction to Luke on how he has the Batwing armor now and the cool badass characters he fights. This kind of reminds me of an Iron Man thing, and I think that's why I liked it so much. I liked the paneling in between, and I like to see how he was arguing with Lucius about how he should travel the world and do things and take a year off and try to feel getting used to all this Batman stuff. And it's cool to see all the little trinkets and upgrades the armor actually has. And I quite enjoyed this issue. You get to see a cool Batmobile, and you get to see Bruce talk to Luke and try to guide him along. And he fights this like lion creature, and this is the creature right here. So I quite enjoyed this book. I really liked it. The action was good. The artwork was good. It was a nice introduction. Didn't overwhelm you with stuff. And at the end of the issue, you got Batwing just hanging in the balance of life and death. So this was a fun read. I'm definitely going to go on to the next issue on issue number 21. So I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. I enjoyed it a lot. Number 4. Swamp Thing, issue number 20. Another new title that I started reading. I read issues 19, and I recently bought the trades. I haven't read any yet, but I like this issue. You see Swamp Thing fell asleep in this particular issue, and he lost control because of Scarecrow's like fear toxin or whatnot. So the guy's like passed out. So he has no controls over his power, and you can see these nightmares that he's having. The artwork is done. Excuse me. The artwork is done really nicely in the issue, and Charles Soule is the writer, and Cano is the penciler, and just really creepy stuff in this issue. As he dreams, you can see this like nightmarish plant things coming to life, and Metropolis is taken over by Swamp Thing's vines because he's just passed out, and firefighters come in, and we can see himself just struggling with himself to handle his new powers. And again, he has all these nightmarish dreams of like Christmas, and everything gets overgrown by the plants. Awesome stuff. Superman is just trying to handle the situation, and he's having a tough time doing it. But he takes care of Swamp Thing, and he has his discussion with Swamp Thing. And the coolest thing about this issue is about how they took care of Scarecrow, because he tries to, you know, kind of tries to escape at the last second, and then Swamp Thing just goes and just crushes him against the wall, which was really cool to see. But at the end of the issue, now we go diving into the next story arc, and you just run into this chick here, and she just is like, Avatar. She goes, I thought you would never return, and he's like, who? And she's like, bows down like this, and she's like, save me. And you're like, okay. So I don't know, but I'm enjoying Swamp Thing. It's definitely something different. It's got that little horror feel to it, a little dark grittiness, and I enjoyed it. So I'm giving this one a 4 out of 5 as well. Top 3. Number 3. What did I put? Action Comics, issue number 20. This book was creepy too. I like this. I don't know. I got themes going on. I got like Iron Man themes, creepy horror-like themes. This one has to do with the continuation of the hybrid. At the end of the last issue, you get to see Superman sitting there going like this with his hand, and it's glowing. And it's like, you know, he's dying. That's what you think. But in the issue, it doesn't start off that way. It has like Lex Luthor battling, you know, doing his taekwondo fighting, and kicks a guy in the balls, and the guy's on the ground, which is awesome. And then you come across this girl, and her name is, oh man, I can't, Shay. Her name is Shay, and she basically took care of the problem that Clark was having, and it was this creature, this hybrid that was forming around his hand, and it was supposed to destroy Superman, but it didn't, and Lex Luthor finds out that that's what happens. So it's long talk, discussion. I could go into it, but you got to read it. But in the issue, the freaking hand goes after Superman, and it like grows with him. It's like attracted to him, and it starts growing. It becomes this crazy ass creature, and it's like, you know, and it's like, dude, that's crazy. Reminds me of something like Venom, and you know, Shay tries to stop it, and the artwork is just so phenomenal. Tony Estano does such a great job on this book. Dude, I wish he would stay on this book. It's so awesome. And they try putting, you know, Ray Kryptonite in there, and Superman tries to destroy, you know, freeze it with his breath, and you can see it mimics him, like wearing the S. Just such great stuff. And at the end of this particular issue, you find out that the thing it comes out from under the ground, and just all kinds of stuff, and it's just like exactly what Lex Luthor wants, because he's going to get into this machine, you know, his cool ass armor, and he's going to save the day because that's what they wanted. So it's just really awesome stuff. I really enjoyed this issue too. Very good. I'm giving this one a 4.5 out of 5. Check out Action Comics issue 1920. The other one I think is going to be just as good. Number 2, Green Arrow. This was a good book. This was like almost my number 1 book, but you guys probably already know what my number 1 book is going to be. But Green Arrow was the conclusion to the story arc of Komodo. Green Arrow and Komodo do this one final battle because Komodo is basically sent back. He has to come back because he failed. And what's it called? Green Arrow is just Oliver McQueen is just not even healed from last time. He's all bandaged up, and just he's all roughed up. You find out that Naomi is set up, you know, to get destroyed basically. If one small move, she's going to blow up. And Henry, it's his new eyes and ears that took place at Jack's, is trying to give him, you know, info of what's going on. But it was all this ploy to get him here for one last battle with Komodo. And the artwork does such a great job of focusing on key elements in the actual issue. I love this book. This book has become quickly one of my favorite books. And the battle sequences here is just awesome. Oliver just puts a freaking arrow right in Komodo's eye. Just great stuff. But then, again, another focal point on an arrow. Just really, really interesting read. You guys should give it a try. This book has definitely took a turn for the much better. Jeff Lemire has done a great job with this book. This one is getting a 5 out of 5 for me. So, number 1. Y'all know it by now because I did a review. Superior Spider-Man. Lots of talk about this particular issue. Lots of talk. Some people can't stand what happened. Some people think it's brilliant. Some people are like, whatever. For me, it's a good issue. Regardless, it's going to bring back Peter in a way that we're going to be so happy to see him. Because the reason is, in issue number 1, when we saw Superior Spider-Man, Peter Parker already comes back as a ghost. And at that issue, I was already like, yeah, Peter's alive. That's right. And he's going to come back. And I was excited as hell to see him there. And then for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 issues, he's this ghost hounding Superior. Bah, 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 bah. Getting annoying. People are getting upset. In this issue, they truly kill him off. Like, this is the issue where he truly dies. Peter Parker is dead, guys. He is dead as of right now. There's nothing left of him. And whenever he comes back, it's going to be the most exciting time for Spider-Man readers. And everyone is going to be back on board to see what it is going to be about that Peter is coming back. That's what's going to happen. And we don't know when that's going to happen. A lot of speculation next year because of the movie. Very possible. But in all instances, when a writer, as of Dan Slott, can create this much controversy over an issue, because some people say it was supposed to piss off people. It didn't piss me off, because we kind of knew that this was going to happen because of the spoilers and everything else. But when someone can create this much controversy and create this much passion off of one of their characters for readers, the writer's done his job. Because of all these 15 issues that I just read here, nothing captured me or made me remember the most than this issue right here. Could be maybe I'm just a hardcore Spider-Man fan. That could be it. But this one got me I'm super passionate about him, so this one got me all hyped up. And I know there's a lot of people out there as well that watched their reviews felt the same way. Either that they hated the issue or they loved it. It brought out that emotion in them. And that's when I find that the writer does its job. Maybe for that person that read the book, maybe not good, but it brought out something in you. And that's why I love this issue so much. The way Peter went, was it quick? Yes. But it was painful to see him go that way. The artwork was phenomenal. It was great to see Stegman back on the title on his rotation again. And the great thing is about this particular book now, it's totally up in the air. We don't know how Superior is going to act. We don't know if he's going to be goody two-shoe. We don't know if he's going to follow Peter's footsteps anymore. We don't know what's going to happen. He could be an asshole. He could be that dark character that people have been looking for. So whether you're on Superior Spider-Man or off of Superior Spider-Man, that's your decision. But in my opinion, Dan Slott did his job in bringing out the emotion in all of us. And to me, that's what makes up this book to be number 1. So there you have it, guys. That is the countdown for this week. Lots of crap, but a few good issues in the end. So you guys tell me what you thought of this week's comics, and tell me what your number 1 book of the week was in the comments below. And as always, guys, thank you for watching the countdown and watching Comic Book Corner 2.0. I greatly appreciate it. And until the next comic book review, guys, this is Mike Spider-Slayer from Comic Book Corner 2.0 signing off, and I'll see you guys in the next review. Take care, everyone. See you soon. Bye.